Yeah, we back. We back. Welcome to the Will Lives podcast. You know what I'm saying? We are a day late, but we not a dollar short. We here again, bringing to you again a real wonderful show. We got this show is going to be of course with Dr. AE, but we got a book review. Got a few special books because we're going to talk about master code switching. Yeah, it's gonna be serious. So let's talk about master code switching. So we live in an overlay platform. We live in an overlay civilization. An overlay civilization is when there are a multitudes of movings of people, right? Then you have a multitude of different time periods that have taken place. Okay, so you wonder why we share DNA throughout the world? It was a part of a master code switching platform. It was a plan. See, when it comes to symbols and what people, recognize when they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So if a picture is worth 1,000 words, imagine what symbols do to you. Imagine what symbols represent. Imagine how they can even represent things and you can see them before you even know what they mean. Because their symbols represent different perspectives. Look at this one up here. Boom. Right there. Uh-huh. Yeah. See that symbol right there? It represents eternal life. But there are so many symbols that resonate so many ways within us. We have to do one thing: understand what they mean. And what do you mean by that? D, what you mean by that, Daddy D? What are you talking about? I mean, symbols, man, they represent everything, literally. They translate so fast into your mental brain housing group. It resonates so fast. It's like when you see a stop sign, stop. You already know what it means. You've been seeing these things from when you were children. They're implanted into your brain housing group. And then you have to understand how to know what symbols mean because if you don't know what they mean, what does that mean then? What does that mean for me? What does that mean for you? I'm gonna tell you what it means. Dr. E gonna break some shit down. We got some books I pulled off the shelf. We gonna talk about that. We both like, oh yeah, this master code switching thing is something that we really got to talk about. We really got to get into it because when you have to understand how things translate so fast into your mental brain housing group, understand that when that happens, you have a reaction. Wherever there's a cause of action, there's a reaction. So it provides a platform of how to function inside of what? A civilization, whether overlay or not. But they know how to manipulate and master the code switching game so that you do one thing: you're always confused. So, Dr. AE, I'm gonna let you. I want you to go in on this because I think you got something to say. I can see it. I know you got something to ride in on this one. Go ahead, you got it.
Well, I am who I am, right? So
Hey,
I always have to put the historical perspective on it. And I think the best way that people can understand these things is to give a quick history lesson, right?
yes, sir.
There was a time when we had what we called initiate schools.
Mm.
And these were schools that taught people how to master their minds. It is true that in today's society, and no matter what, we still only use a small percentage of our brain. No matter what Einstein, high level person, super intelligent person you may come across,
Yeah.
is training in one school of thought, but it's not the training that teaches you how to maximize your brain and use it to its highest ability. And so there was a school. And not just one singular building, there were schools, and they were called initiate schools. And they did exactly that. Because when you are able to use a large portion of your brain, you are able to tune in with nature, with science, with all of these different things at a level that most people can't understand.
Absolutely.
And so, um, in these initiate schools, people would come out and then they would be doing these quote unquote miracles. Now I don't
All
know
right.
if many people are ready for this, but it is what it is, and it's the truth.
Okay.
There were men who did the same attributes that Yahshua or Jesus did as well. There was a man who was recorded years before Jesus to walk on water. Um, there were other men that were recorded, were able to meditate and actually use telekinesis. And so these people were all members at one time of this initiate school, and they all went. And there's a key there, and I think Dr. Ben, if you ever get a chance to read his books, Dr. Ben Yohakin or Yahakabin,
Dr. Ben Yakinen, yes,
yeah,
sir.
um, Dr. Ben talks about how Moses went to this initiate school, and we have the story in the Bible about going on the mount and all of that, but historically, what he discovered through research was that Moses rather went to this school, and when he went to this school, he was able to do these different things, right? That way he became one with nature, he became one with a higher power, and he was able to do all of these different things. And so there's also a part, like I said, you can you choose to believe what you would like to believe. But there's even a part in the Bible, in the New Testament, where it discusses how Yahshua was in Egypt and Mary found him. And so the way it's spun and the way the biblical teachings are, it seems like he was there about a week or two.
Mm.
But uh, Dr. Ben discusses that as also he discusses that as well,
Uh-huh.
that it wasn't just a week or two, that he was in Egypt for a while because he was at this initiate school as well. And so, and there are many men around the world who came to this initiate school. And the one that Europeans are well, or not well familiar, or just familiar with, that's the best way to put it, is Socrates, right? Socrates, it took him 7 years to get into this initiate school. They wouldn't let him in. He kept coming. They finally let him
Begging.
in. And because he had to prove himself worthy.
That's right.
And so Socrates went into this initiate school, and when he came out, he goes back to Europe, and he does things that they can't understand.
Mm-hmm.
He has a different philosophy now on the world that they aren't able to actually understand. And so sadly enough, um, when people come in contact with things that they don't understand,
Mm.
the first thing they grab hold to is fear.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of what what we've been dealing with in modern time, right? Anything dealing with the unidentified flying object, a UFO, or the um, even hint of uh, other life sources other than human beings, is they're gonna attack us. It's war. It's attack from Mars. It's this. It's that. It's that whole negative connotation that continues to promote fear.
Absolutely.
And so Socrates um, was, of course, declared a heretic. By later standards, that's what it would have been being declared a
Classified.
heretic.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Classified. Thank you. And so, of course, he ends up, being tortured, and to the point where he pretty much either committed the suicide, or the story goes he committed suicide. One of the two. Nobody never knows. Just like we really don't know about Epstein, right?
Absolutely.
So nobody was in that room but Epstein and possibly somebody else, but we'll never know if possibly somebody else was in that cell with him. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Socrates was locked up. He was placed in isolation and whatnot, so we don't know. But we do know that being taught and the ability to being taught was feared. And so that's where the manipulation then begins. And that's what you were referring to earlier about manipulation and code switching.
Yes, sir.
Because what we do know is this. The last initiate school was closed in the 6th century.
Yes, sir.
Right? With the Justinian Empire. Now you have to understand, 6th century, we're talking 500s, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So in the 500s now, what we're talking about is the early development of Christianity, but we're also talking about the new development of Islam.
Okay.
Right? Islam is 6th century.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so religion has kind of replaced that whole idea.
The Gnostics.
The Gnostics.
Yeah.
And it has replaced all of those things that prior to that were attributed to man knowing himself and uniting himself with nature and the higher power, which included the ancestors as well. And so where the code switching now comes in is how, right, do you explain those things? And so through explaining those things, right,
for sure,
you come up with these religious exhortations.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And we're not just condemning Christianity, right? You got religious exhortations in Islam. Buddha sat under a tree for quite some time being tempted, right? You have all of these different exhortations that are giving a spiritual, I won't say, for lack of better terms, let's say spiritual, plausible explanation, because it becomes plausible in your belief. You see what I'm saying? If you believe, and you believe these exhortations and these things placed on Yahshua the Christ, and we know for a fact again that there were 12 other men that had that title. The Christ is a title.
16. 16 world crucified Savior. That's by Cursed Graves.
Right, Cursed. Well, see, that's what I'm saying.
Yes,
he
sir.
says the 16.
Yeah.
But he marks the 12.
Absolutely.
As having a lot of those attributes.
They displayed them.
But yes, he does say 16.
Yes, sir.
So I'll stand corrected on the 16, but he denotes the 12.
Absolutely.
With the different attributions.
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
And so religion now has given this plausible explanation through your belief, right?
Strong.
And so the
Mm.
quote unquote code switching now comes in when religion and society begin to explain things that should be attributed to these other attributes and these other things that go on beyond regular men and women's understanding.
Absolutely.
And so that's where the quote unquote code switching comes, right? Because then it changes in time, right?
It evolves. It becomes something completely
It evolves because things evolve, right?
right. What you say? Life be life, man.
Just like even the religion itself, right?
Right.
There
Absolutely.
was a time when a man in the Old Testament can have as many wives as he wanted. Then, as society began to change about it, then the Bible now in the New Testament says one man, one wife. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and now we'll see another change, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another change will come
Absolutely.
soon, and it's going to accept homosexuality. It's going to
It's
accept it
gonna do it.
because society
It's gonna do it.
is beginning to do it. So
Right.
at some point in the future, it may be 100 years from now, but because society has changed, because you could get stoned in the
For
Old
any of that.
Testament for certain things
Right.
that it's not even a crime anymore.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
So these are the things that I'm trying to use as an example for how and what the basis of code switching really is.
Correct, sir. Very correct.
And like I said, I'm a historian, so I have to do it the best way I do it.
I'm just gonna add. I just want to
Yes,
just
sir.
want to add a little to it. The thing is, I've been studying the Gnostics for 20 plus years. 20 plus years. I come from an extremely Christian background, Pentecostal, Baptist, Pentecostal, Methodist, United, African American, Episcopal, everything. I've been to all of them. My mother was a church hopper when I was a youngster. Trying to find a place to make sure we can get some. They called it back then. The old folks used to call it a word. So growing up from a reservation. All I knew was my grandmama. All of that. I've explained all of that. My grandmother is a pastor. She's been a pastor for 50 years. My auntie, she's a pastor as well. My grandmother's the overseer. She's the pastor now. So you understand how that go. That's that's how that's that lifestyle. It's old school, but that's that lifestyle, and it still goes on today in small, little set out communities. That community is still small. The people still live there. Everything. You see what I'm saying? So they're still under that they adhere to that overlay society, even being indigenous peoples. You see, when you are people that have been, coerced in being situated, you have no need to think of anything else outside of your immediate surroundings because all of your needs are met as you feel, as you see fit. You think about when it comes to uh, when you have been degraded down into belief in that belief. And you never thought about that one specific word, knowledge, knowing the ledge. I had to understand things from the inside out because that's how my grandfather taught me. Now, my grandmother and my mother, they always taught me things like, you better do the right thing even when ain't nobody looking. You understand? So, those type of things molded me. It made me into a very, I would say, astute young fella at the time. Very astute. Just like my fella here. We were raised very astute, different paths. That's that vice of virtue. You understand? So I chose a pretty virtuous path, even though I wanted to do some damage. To win the Marine Corps, it was legal. Okay, still legal. That's what I wanted to do. because I knew I can do certain things and I can express myself a certain way without getting in trouble for it. Because everybody said, man, you had too much energy, man. You can, yeah, I had a lot of energy and I did a lot of damage and a lot of good. You see what I'm saying? So I had to learn these things. They master code switch up on your face, in your face, all the time. Soon as you think you running with something, you got this equation figured out. Hit master code switch on you. It's called making stuff up as you go. You know what I'm saying? So when you make things up as you go and you get good with just making stuff up, you're like, hey, I can just sling this on them right here. I can pull together something, mold it the way I want it to be, and sell it to you. So that means if you don't know your history of who you are, you don't know where you come from, you don't know nothing about your personal self, your mystery and your mastery, you're very vulnerable. You're so vulnerable you don't even know it. That's the sad part. You think I got it all figured out. You don't have if you don't have you figured out, you're in a constant state of confusion. You know what they call it in the Bible? A reprobate. A reprobated mind. It says it and tells you what you are because it tells you also in Ecclesiastes it says one thing. There are other books. And it also as says as above, so below. The Bible leads you out of it. Literally. It's just you like the stories and you get so good at telling them, you feel like you're powerful. But you left the whole equation out. You. Because if anybody asks you what did Jesus do, you wouldn't know from 12 to 32. Died at 33. 12, 20 years. From 12, he was a special child, as they say. We talking about Jesus. Hey, Rue. Who? Hey, Rue. I can take that one now. We already know that story. Do you? Look that one up. That's the first recorded immaculate conception on the planet. Prove me wrong. You can't. Simply because that's the truth. But see, everything they tell you that got this that copper to it, they want to do one thing. They like to tell you this. That's mysticism. I bet your ass it ain't. There's no myth about things that can actually happen and occur on this planet, and you're left with everything around you to prove it. It's called hiding in plain sight. Doc,
Yes, sir.
let's just help them out with a couple books we picked out, man. Let's just explain some of these books to them because you're a doctor and you know you read. Like I read. I just want you to do it because you know what? Your explanations are extremely valuable, sir. So please, just give them a little something. Help me out.
All right, I grabbed one that kind of captured me.
Okay.
But as always, I probably talk too much.
Yeah.
Because we already running low.
Oh man.
The ethno-ornithology.
Show
Right?
them. Yeah, boy.
And it may be a far fetch for some people in terms of looking at ethnogenesis and relating it to birds. But that's not anything new, right? Egyptians believed that cats were the keepers and they warded off bad spirits and things of that nature.
And they learn civilization from cats.
And so the thing that I think and it captures me is that concept, right? That
yes, sir.
And we believe it, and it captures me because we hold on to it in my profession, right? That when an elderly person passes, a library closes.
Yes, sir.
Right? And we believe that in history, we try our best to get oral histories and things of that nature and get these interviews because truly when an elderly person passes, particularly someone who has lived 90 years in modern times because so much has happened in a 90-year to 100-year span. Someone who has firsthand knowledge of all of these different changes is quite valuable. And that's on the practical side of being eyewitness to these tangible things.
Mm-hmm.
But this book discusses I'll hold it up one more time for you. It discusses the intangibles, right? The ability of people once they have lived in that body for so long, how they are able to understand that body and how it relates to uh to the world, and not just through the tangible things, through the intangibles,
Mm,
you know,
that's powerful.
um, and understanding certain things. And they related, of course, to the symbolism, and they related to birds, and there is some factual understanding that you have to accept, because those that we call the Native Americans, they do have a connection with birds that other people don't have. And it is not on this tangible plane that we have with other animals, particularly dogs, because that's on a level that starts with um, training.
Absolutely.
This is a relationship that is built on the basis
Hmm.
nonverbal.
Hmm.
And so when it's on nonverbal, then that's automatically on a different plane from a training and this, that, and the other. And you
Hmm.
grow to love the dog and you spend time, you train them, and you can look at the dog then, and the dog knows your mannerisms and things of that nature.
Hmm.
That's on that tangible plane.
Hmm.
But when we have a group of people who are spiritually connected to a bird that they never seen before, but they can hold their arm out and that bird comes to them. See, that's a different connection, right? And that's also understanding, past the just basic knowledge that most of our communication is nonverbal. It's actually understanding and being able to manipulate it with the world in general, not just with other people, not giving somebody a certain look, or that
No,
woman gives you a look,
you
that
you
man, you give that look back,
you.
and y'all that nonverbal there. No, we're talking
The
about
metal nature.
right.
Yes,
We're talking about
sir.
exactly.
Yeah.
Uh, we're talking about what I referred to earlier in the initiate schools, right? The opening up of your brain to acknowledge the ability to go beyond the tangible.
Yes, sir.
And so that book, and it makes the relations with birds, but underneath what we're talking about is the ability, right, to spiritually connect and use different symbolisms and things of that nature, um, as a way to communicate beyond the normal tangible ways of communication. And I'll leave it at that because I told you
No, you're doing great. I'm
I'm
just I'm
running
just I'm
out.
just showing I brought up the metal nature. I have to show you. I have to show you. See, the thing is, the metal nature is the first. They call it the actual words of God. Mud nature, mud nature, mother nature. Those are those inscriptions that you find in the all over the planet. Y'all thought I was gonna say just Kemet or Egypt? No, I'm talking about in the Yucatan. I'm talking about in China. I'm talking about in Japan. I'm talking about in India. I'm talking about in the Sudan. I'm talking about in Peru. I'm talking about
The
all over the
pyramids you
planet.
found in Ohio.
Yeah, the pyramids found in Ohio. You know, you got all that in the Dakotas, and you got the whole lexicon, or no, not the pantheon of kings right here in America. The pantheon of kings, Sphinx, everything, Grand Canyon, right here in the Americas. Understand America's the old world, and you know it. Let's understand that. Okay. See, everything that you think you know, you might have to throw that skirt. You might have to flip it on its neck. You might have to turn the world upside down. And that's where you should start. Just flip it upside down, then start reading the maps. Then let's get into the Perry Reese map then and stuff like that. You understand what I'm saying? Because they got these all elaborate backward stories that they tell us, but we ain't supposed to believe. I can't believe nothing you say, man. You lie about everything. When you treat your own people bad, imagine how you'll treat other people. Now, isn't that a human condition? I ain't got no race tied to that. Everybody treat their people bad. I need it to stop. Okay? Stop treating your people bad because you don't know yourself. You know, half of the Caucasians or lighter European or lighter complected people, they have they a doppelganger to a dark person. We're a family of people. I seen Putin is a doppelganger to a black king in Africa somewhere. I saw that picture. It looked just like him. But Putin is the doppelganger because he's too light complected. You understand what I'm saying? So people, we ain't gonna hold you too long, Dr. Dixon. My brother, if you got some more words, please share. Give us some closings.
Well, I was trying to let you have it this go round.
I just want you to make it quick. This is a challenge for you.
Quick. Okay.
Challenge.
Yeah, this is a challenge. I'm sorry. It is. I'm long-winded. Anyway, you have to begin to go back to your early childhood when you questioned everything. When we stop questioning everything, we kind of lose that ability to analyze what's not just there in our tangible understanding or what has always been. And so we have to get back to questioning things. Plain and simple.
Man, y'all heard it from the doctor. You heard it from me, the Wheel This Podcast. But check out all this shit out, man. You understand why now? We understand why. I need y'all to say this with me. The wheel is yours. Hey man, y'all have a swell Friday.